Hello, everybody, and welcome to my fourth episode on my YouTube channel, The Bugsy Collection, where I talk about my return to the baseball card collecting community. And just to give you guys a little bit of a recap, I posted 3 videos about this time last year, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. And I actually collected baseball cards as a kid with my dad back in the 80s, and we went to tons of baseball card shows local and in the Southeast. We did tons of baseball card shows where we would get autographs. We went to lots of minor league baseball games where we collected autographs. And I did that during my teenage years. And my dad went by the name of Bugsy. That's what everybody called him. That's what I called him. That's what all my friends called him. And this channel is named after him. I kind of got out of the card collecting hobby for probably, oh my goodness, close to 40 years. And then my dad passed away about 2 years ago. And right after he passed away, me and one of my buddies were talking, and he had recently gotten back into card collecting. And we decided to go to the National in Cleveland back in 2024. And that's when I started back into the hobby. And I actually went to the National with the intent of getting some things graded to basically sell my dad's collection. Took a little bit of money with me and wound up spending all of the money that I took on cards, vintage cards. And since then, I've been really been into it and have found a lot of joy. So if you're wondering where have I been over the course of the last year since I haven't posted any videos, well, I've been right here all along. I just haven't been making any videos. I've been very busy with life. Me and my wife are empty nesters. We have 3 grown children. They're all married. And my 2 oldest of the 3, they're both girls, and they both had children since last year's National. So I'm a grandfather now, and I absolutely love it. So we've been really busy with the getting used to our and having fun in our new role as grandparents. So I've been busy with grandkids, been busy with life, have really bought very little since last year's National. I've watched, continue to watch tons of other folks' YouTube videos, and I have looked at tons of cards, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I just really like looking at cards. I'm in several of the Facebook vintage baseball card groups. I'm not crazy about looking at cards on eBay and using that avenue to look at cards, but I just get a ton of joy of scrolling through Facebook and just looking at vintage cards that pop up for sale. It's strange, but even if I don't buy anything, which I haven't bought hardly anything in the past year, it's just very relaxing, and it's kind of my happy place looking at baseball cards. So today we're going to talk about my most recent trip, and that was to the National. This was the 3rd National that me and my buddy Tony, the Southern Collector, have been to. Like I said, my return to the hobby started 2 years ago in Cleveland when we went to the National. And then last year we went to Chicago. And this year we went back to Chicago. Tony and I traveled together. We stayed at the Westin Hotel, which was probably, I don't know, a lot of you guys stayed there. It was within walking distance, maybe close to a mile from the convention, and the hotel was really nice. Liked it. The food there was great. We actually did the buffet breakfast there every single morning. The walk wasn't bad. The walk was actually enjoyable, but the one thing that we didn't like about it is it brought the weather into play, and you had to make sure it wasn't going to be raining, and that was a little bit of a problem on Saturday. But other than that, we had just an absolutely great time. We left Nashville Wednesday morning. We flew up, I believe we flew up on United. So there was an early flight where we could get there in time to get our badge early. I had bought us VIP tickets ahead of time. So we were able to get into the show an hour before The regular tickets let you in. We actually dropped our stuff at the hotel first, and we got there early enough that we had to just check our bags. We couldn't get a room. So here's a picture of me and my buddy Tony at the National. And this actually is not the first day, if you'll notice. So a couple things about this. He and I always both wear our orange UT hats. It's easy to find each other in a room full of, I don't know how many people were there, 10,000 people, but it's pretty easy to look around and just spot the orange hat. That's why we wear the orange hats. We're also Vols fans. And if you'll notice that shirt, the Bugsy shirt that I have on, I've actually worn this one day to each of the last 3 Nationals. And one of my granddaughters got this shirt for my dad when he lived with us. And Dad used to wear this shirt. And as you can see, it has Bugsy on it. So when he passed away, that's something that I hung on to. And I don't wear it much at all during the year, but I kind of wear it one day to the Nationals, sort of as a shout out to my dad. And that's just kind of me, the way of sort of bringing Dad to the show with me, even though he's no longer here in body. He'll always be right there. So we started out at the National on Wednesday. We stayed the whole 6 hours. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my pickups in the order that I bought them and on the day that I bought them. So the first thing that we did when we got to the National is we basically ran to the PSA area. And Tony and I both had something that we wanted to drop off to get graded. I think Tony had 3 cards. I had 1 card. I dropped it off. And I'll wait and show you that when I in the order here of when I got it back. So dropped that off. I also had a card that I had talked to Tony quite a bit about. It's actually a 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie in a PSA 4. It's centered perfectly, and decided that I would take it to Mike Baker and try to get a sticker, see if I could get a sticker for it, because I'm actually thinking about selling it to fund another purchase. So those are the first 2 things that we did on Wednesday. And then we just spent tons of time walking around, looking at the cards. I spent quite a bit of time walking around by myself. Tony and I kind of split up some on Wednesday, and it's really difficult. I'm not a big fan of the venue. I like the city. I like the fact that it's close to the hotels, but the venue itself, I'm not crazy about it because it's very difficult to, it's not just one big room. It's a series of connected rooms. So it's difficult for me to actually keep up with and make sure that I've seen everything and that I've been to every nook and cranny of the venue. But I think I finally was able to do that. But like I said, we spent all day Wednesday looking at cards, and surprisingly, I actually didn't buy a single card on Wednesday. And I found this to be the case at last year's National as well. I'm very picky when it comes to eye appeal. I'm usually looking for something in a 3, 4, 5 with super high eye appeal. And the biggest thing with me with eye appeal is the centering. I really want it to be close to centered. And I found that on day 1, I come in and it's like my expectations are so high of what I'm looking for that I can't find anything that passes the litmus test of centering. So I actually didn't buy anything on Wednesday, but I had an absolute ball looking at cards. I had so much fun. I covered probably 3/4 of the venue, but even though I didn't buy anything, I wasn't frustrated. I had a lot of fun just looking at cards. Oh, and I should have told you, I do make a list typically when I'm going to a show, and I should have made a screenshot of my list, but the 2 top cards that I was going after at the show was, I think I had 10 or 12 cards on my list. But the top 2 cards are 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson. That was going to be a stretch for me because of the cost to acquire it. And then the other big card that I was looking for, or card that I really wanted to come home with, is a 1955 Top St. Karen. So those were the 2 biggies. I'm into golden age vintage cards. I'm a Cubs fan, but actually vintage era Yankees cards are what I really like. I just like the way they look. I like the history of the Yankees. I especially like any card that's got the stadium in the background. I don't really focus on Mantle because of his cost. I love the Mantle cards, but I've only got a couple. So I'm usually really chasing all the other guys, and just anything that pops up that I like, that's what I'll buy. So that was Wednesday. Wednesday night, we actually left the show and we walked over to Giordano's Pizza. I think we walked over there. And there wound up being probably 15 of us over at Giordano's, and we kind of hooked up with, it was me, Tony, Southern Collector, Greg from Midlife Cards, Coach Miller, Greg's dad, Mookie hooked up with us. He rolled into town sort of towards the end of when we were eating at Giordano's, and then Mike Petty picked up the tab for all of us. So there were about 15 of us, and just had an absolute great time hanging out. So I think Wednesday night after that, we were tired. We'd gotten up at maybe, I know I had gotten up at about 4:30, I think, Wednesday morning. So by Wednesday night was absolutely exhausted. So we went back and we crashed. So then we got up Thursday and headed back to the show. And Thursday, one thing. So on the PSA front, the PSA service that I paid for, I actually paid for the 4-hour service, I think. So I really wanted to make sure that I got that card back, and I didn't get any kind of email on Thursday whatsoever from PSA. So I had no idea what was going on with my card that I had dropped off. But I started to read the tea leaves, see things on social media, and saw that it was probably going to be an issue. Luckily, we were staying until Sunday morning. We weren't going to the show Sunday morning. But we were going to be at the show until Saturday night. So I figured, hopefully I'll have it back by Saturday night. They had actually told me that it would probably be when I dropped it off Wednesday, they said it would probably be Thursday. And Mike Baker, what did I do with him? I can't remember. I think I didn't do the 2-hour. I think I did the 24-hour. So I was supposed to have both of those back on Thursday. But guys, here's the deal. I'm real big on not letting things that are out of my control affect how much fun I have or affect my happiness or my joy. I call that, I'm not going to give the keys to my happiness to somebody else. I'm going to keep those for myself. So I just decided, you know what, absolute worst case, if it's not ready, they'll mail them to me. So I just kept checking on them throughout the week, and I'll let you know more about that when we get to that a bit later in this episode. So Thursday, we get up, we head back to the show, and I did make a few pickups on Thursday. The first card that I picked up was actually, let me add, there we go. That's the first card I picked up, a Sparky Anderson rookie. And as you can see, it's got great centering. I got it in an 8. This was one where the card wasn't that expensive. So I'm actually went and picked this up as soon as I saw it. And the reason that I picked this up is I'm growing up, living where I do, you were either a Braves fan or a Reds fan. When I was first started getting into cards when I was about 7 or 8, I loved the Big Red Machine. This was in their heyday. So I'm actually now kind of low-key working on a rookie cards of the grade 8 for the Big Red Machine plus Sparky Anderson. So I've got several of those. I don't have the Pete Rose rookie. That's the one big card that I don't have. I've got the Morgan, I've got the Perez, I've got the bench. So I saw this Sparky here and just absolutely loved it. So decided I would pick this up. So that was my very first pickup, and that kind of, once I got it, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to find some cards and let's do this thing. So the next card that I picked up, this card was actually not on my list, but as I saw it, and as Tony likes to say sometimes, it just spoke to me. So I bought it. The next card that I'm going to show you was on my list, and I've been looking for this card long and hard, and the centering is pretty close to what I like. It's off just a hair, but it had sharp corners and was very close to centered. And here, let me show you. I absolutely love this card. You can see it's pretty much centered left, right. Top, bottom, it's maybe 60-40, 65-35. But it's in a new slab, and it has great coloring. It has sharp corners, and this card is everything that I love about vintage collecting. It's got Mickey on it. It's got one of my favorites, Yogi, on it. There's Hank Bauer in the middle. You can see the catching equipment, and everything about this just screams vintage era Yankees and Yankee Stadium. So I was super excited when I picked this card up. It's my second pickup of the day. I'm on a roll at this point. Now, my third pickup is not a card that was actually on my list either, but I'm also sort of low-key working on a run of rookie cards of vintage era Hall of Famers. And I'm kind of loosely doing this. I'm not really tracking it yet. I've probably got, I don't know, 20 or so, but I love the 49 Bowmans, and this is a card that I did not have yet. So as you can see, the centering is pretty good on this one. Hodges and the Brooklyn Dodgers they're not super high on my list of who I collect, so I didn't want to spend a ton on this. It was in a 2, and the coloring on these 49 Bowmans, I just absolutely love that red and that blue. It just pops out. So this was my third pickup, and I'm really cruising now. The next card I'm going to show you. So there's a few players that I'm chasing full player runs of, and it's Ernie Banks, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, and then the fourth one is Phil Rizzuto. So this next card was on my list and one that I needed. And it's a 1950 Bowman Phil Rizzuto, and the centering on this bad boy, I don't know why it's a 5, but it's absolutely perfect. I love Phil's cards. I love how he looks in that Yankee uniform. I love these Bowmans, and he's relatively inexpensive to collect. So I was super excited to pick this dude up and add it to my list. So that was the end of my pickups on Thursday. Thursday was a big day for us. We stayed at the show again. We stayed all day. Thursday night, we actually went to dinner Thursday night at a very nice dinner. Bob, who is Tony has gotten to know Bob, and quite a few of the other guys that I mentioned that have YouTube channels have gotten to know Bob. And Bob is, I think, fairly recently back into collecting, maybe. He works with Perfect Game. And so he hosted a dinner at Gibson's across the street from the show on Thursday night. I think there were almost 20 of us at this dinner. Man, it was super nice. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. And the main thing I remember about that dinner is I think most of the other guys knew Bob and had met Bob before. I had never met Bob before. So I went up to him before it started and I said, "Hey, Bob, thanks for letting me tag along with Tony and come to the show. I really appreciate, or come to the dinner. I really appreciate you. This is super nice." And I stuck my hand up to shake his hand. And he said, "I'm a hugger." And he just reached around and 2-armed bear hugged me and almost picked me up off the ground. He had everybody a present. He said, I didn't know you yet. Didn't know what card you're after. I'll know for next time. So I just got you a shirt. And he got me this super nice orange and white Peter Millar shirt. And we had a golf shirt. And we had just an absolute great time there that night at the dinner. After the dinner, I think there was a YouTube gathering, but I crashed out. I was tired. I headed back to the hotel. Tony went to the YouTube dinner or the YouTube hangout, I think. And that was the end of my night. But so far, 2 days in, Wednesday and Thursday, just absolute great days. I did go back to Mike Baker. I did go back to PSA on Thursday. No bueno. Neither one of my cards were ready. Both of them told me I would get an email or a text message letting me know when it was ready. So at this point, I just kind of kicked it out of gear and went into cruise control on that front, waiting to see what would happen. So Friday, we had decided that we weren't going to go to the show on Friday, that this would be a good time since the Cubs were in town to go to a Cubs game. And it kind of fell at the perfect part of the week. We'd been at the show Wednesday and Thursday. We had seen everything that there was to see, and it was just a great place to have a break in the show. So Tony had picked up tickets ahead of time. So on Friday, we took an Uber Black to Wrigley from the hotel. It was me, Tony, Greg Miller, Greg Miller's dad, Coach, Mookie, and Mike Petty. And we had the absolute best time. So when we get there, we're dropped off right on the corner of Waveland and Sheffield. And I think a couple of the guys hadn't been to Wrigley before. Greg and his dad hadn't been to Wrigley before. So we walked all the way around Wrigley before we went in. We went into one of the shops, actually bought this hat. Tony made fun of me because I'm notoriously a slow shopper. My wife wears me out. If she's looking for something, the first thing that she sees that meets her requirements, she's ready to buy it. Me, on the other hand, I guess everything I'm looking for sort of has it's sort of like me in the centering on day one. It takes me a while to come to terms with my purchase before I make it. So we went into one of the Cubs stores that are right there around the stadium, and Tony was able to pick out, try on, pay for, and then put back on a jersey, a Pete Crow Armstrong jersey, before I actually picked out and paid for this hat. But I did buy this hat. So anyway, the first thing we do is when we come to that corner, the guys wanted to walk down to the marquee. So we walk down to the marquee, and I'm going to put up a picture of me and my buddy Tony. And look how crazy this picture is. If you notice, whoops, let me go back. There we go. Both those pictures are me and Tony. The picture on the left is from the very first time that Tony and I went to Wrigley Field back in that would have been 1989. And I think we were 19. I think I had just turned 20 and Tony was still 19. Man, the Bart Simpson shirt, the 75-year anniversary shirt, Vine line in the background that I had a subscription to. Just an absolutely outstanding trip. And we've been best buds at that point for, let's see, that would have been a couple of years after we graduated high school. So 5 years into us being best buds. And then here we are, the two old guys who are now grandpas on the right-hand side in front of the same sign. And I also noticed that we fit into the picture a little bit better back when we were a lot thinner, some almost 40 years ago. But that's me and my buddy Tony, and we had to take that picture right off the bat. Here's the next picture. Here's the crew. There's Greg and his dad and Mike Petty, Mookie in the back, Tony on the right, and this is behind the center field scoreboard at Wrigley. We walked all the way around. And this was before we went in. And, man, we just had an absolute awesome time at the game. I can't say enough about how much fun we had. The Cubs didn't win. It was a pitcher's duel. Greg was happy because the Yankees won. I think the Cubs lost. It was 2-0. We had great seats. The food was great. Hanging out was great. The Uber rides, both directions to and from Wrigley, were absolutely just off the hook with one-liner after one-liner from Mr. Mike Petty. He had us cracked up the whole time. And man, there's nothing like going to a ball game at Wrigley Field. The weather cooperated. It looked like it was going to rain, but the weather held off. The food was great, and just can't say enough about how much fun we had. We got back. It did take us probably over an hour, or about an hour in the Uber to get back to the hotel. Took a quick shower, and guess what? We had another Bob dinner. So Collector Bob, who hosted Thursday night at Gibson's, he hosted a little bit larger group, the same people plus some more folks at Shoeless Joe's. And he had a room rented out at Shoeless Joe's. We had food, and this was much more informal, and we just hung out. Some people, usually when you go to a show like this, people will have their pickups with them, or maybe some cards that they brought that they just want to show the guys, and just sitting around hanging out, talking about life, showing baseball cards, and eating and getting to know folks. And it was just another wonderful night. So we stayed there until, we didn't stay too late. We got back probably around 9 o'clock or so to the hotel, and that ended up, that was Friday. So at this point, we've got one more day at the show. So we head back to the convention center, and Saturday's our last big day. We can still get in an hour ahead of time, but actually we did sleep in a little bit late, and it was raining. So we didn't get into the show Saturday until around 10 o'clock. We did take an Uber because it was raining. And the fact that it was raining, I was figuring the show was going to be just absolutely jam-packed with people on Saturday, because it was, crowded Wednesday, more crowded on Thursday. We didn't go Friday. But Saturday morning, the rain kept the crowd down some, at least until probably 12 or 1. So we head back over to the show. And at this point, I still haven't picked up either one of my big cards. I haven't picked up the Aaron. I haven't picked up the Jackie. The Jackies, I didn't see a ton of those at the show. I'm going to say I saw probably 10 or 12, and they were all, that card, all of Jackie's cards are just out of sight right now in price. They're just going wild. And that card that I was looking for in a 3 or a 4 is about double what it was at last year's National, and I passed on one, and boy, I could kick myself for doing that. But I've still kind of got enough money if I can find the right deal, but I am getting impatient. If I can't, I've got one day left, and if I can't find that Jackie, then there are a couple of other cards that I wanted to pick up. And I did make one tactical error. So what my intentions were, so the Jordan rookie that I said I dropped off at NBA that I was going to try to get a sticker for so I could sell it. Really, what I was wanting to do was sell that to be able to fund the 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson, or at least part or some of it, a major portion of it. And trying to do all of that at the show, especially since I was trying to get the Mike Baker sticker, that was a bit of a tactical error. Because that just wasn't the right way to approach it for me. What I should have done was try to sell that card ahead of time without the sticker, so I have the cash in hand. That fits my personality better. So live and learn. I'll know next time. So Saturday starts off, and I'm on a hunt though. I'm looking for this 49 Bowman Jackie, as well as a 55 Aaron. I've got the 54 tops, the Aaron rookie that I absolutely love, but that second year card, that 55 tops, I think that is one of the best cards in the hobby. That and the 56 tops mantle, that was also on my list. And guess what? The patience paid off. And let me show you this next. Look at that. I was at this one guy. I don't know the fellow's name, but I had sort of decided that I was going to try to buy my top cards. I was going to be patient and focus on getting them in a PSA slab, and that's what I tried to do. But I just couldn't find this card in in a PSA slab in a 3 or 4 where the eye appeal matched what I was looking for. And when I saw this bad boy, let me give you a full shot of this. Look at that card. Absolutely perfect. I actually paid a little bit more for it. I was really looking for this in a 4, but when I saw this one in a 6, and considering I hadn't been able to find it in a 4 at a reasonable price, man, everything about this card screamed, take me home. So I was so geeked when I was able to pick this up. The guy came off, he came off probably over 10% on the card. It was a little bit high, and he got it back down to what was reasonable for comps. But once I picked this card up, guys, I could go home a happy man as far as my pickups. So that was the first pickup on Saturday. This next pickup is actually something that I had never seen before. And I wish I had written this guy's name down. He's a buddy of Tony's, and we're just standing there looking at his stuff. Tony is talking to him. And I had just seen this card actually at another dealer's table in a PSA 4, and it was pretty, when I saw it, I absolutely loved it. But it was over what I wanted to spend for something like that in the PSA 4 slab. And then we go a couple of tables over, like I said, and we start talking to this other fellow, and here's this copy ungraded. And I just absolutely loved it. And I've never seen these before. It's a 1936 National Chicle fine pins, and that's Joe DiMaggio from 1936. So this fits my vintage Yankees that I absolutely love. And let me blow this guy up. Man, look at that. It looked to me like it's probably a 2 or a 3. Time will tell. I'm going to keep it with me here for a bit so I can just look at it, keep it in safe, and get it out every now and then to look at it. But I'm going to ship this dude off to PSA. I'm going to bite the bullet and just wait for however long it takes, because I do want to get it slabbed. But I was extremely happy to pick this card up. It's thin. It's almost like it's more like a photograph than a card. But man, what a beautiful black and white photo of the Yankee Clipper. So we're kind of winding down my pickups. I've got a couple left, and it's funny, at this point I still haven't picked up, I'm still kind of hanging on to I've got a fair amount of money left, but I've kind of given up on the Jackie at this point for this show, the 49 Bowman. So I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of looking around, I'm walking around, and this next card for me is one, it was not on my list, but it was in the top 5 cards for me that I wanted to get to really add to my vintage Hall of Fame run of rookie cards. And when I saw this card, I knew that I was going to be able to make a deal for it. And here it is. Look at that dude. PSA 3. It's off a little bit top and bottom, and it's got a little ding on the corner, but the coloring on this thing is insane. And when I saw it, I started negotiating with the guy, and what I wound up doing is he came off quite a bit in cash, and I said, well, would you be interested in a trade as well, cash in a trade? He said, well, let me see what you got. So I handed him a handful of cards that I had brought that I'd be willing to part with. And sure enough, he was, I think, maybe working on a 1952 Topps set. So I had to part with my 1952 Topps Jim Turner. I had actually picked that up at last year's National from a guy and really liked it. The centering was good, but I wasn't really in love with the card since I picked it up because it was in an NBA slab, and I just don't like the NBA slabs. I don't like the way they look. I think the gold is just not great looking. And so I was willing to part with it. So we worked a deal. So cash plus the Jim Turner, and we were able to come to terms on how much that cash would be and got a very fair price. and just absolutely stoked that I was able to pick this card up. So it took a good chunk of my money though. So at this point, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not buying anything else. I'm just going to walk around and enjoy the rest of the day. I'm hoping at this point I'm going to get back my the card I left at PSA and the card I left at NBA. And lo and behold, I did get, and I don't think I have a picture of it in here. I did get the card back. I got an email that the NBA card was ready, and I got a silver sticker. I wish I had a picture. If anybody's interested, shoot me a direct message or a text that you're interested in buying it, because I do want to sell. I am gonna sell the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie card in a PSA 4 with a silver sticker. So I do want to sell that to fund some purchases. So I did get that back. And I also, in the meantime, got a text from or got an email that my card that I dropped off at PSA was ready. So I rush over to PSA and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get it before I go home. And when I get there, I actually had an email that showed me the grade, but it actually didn't say it was ready for pickups. Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. And they said that it's not ready for you to pick up yet. So Tony said that what he had done is he had walked up to the customer service area and had just told them, hey, we're leaving at the end of the day. I really need my card. Can you go back and find it? We got this email that it's ready. So that's what I did. I went up to the desk, and a fellow named, I think his name was Evan, he helped me. Really nice young man. He goes in the back and disappears for probably 15 minutes. And he comes back and he's got my card. And I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to delete one and add back the card that I actually dropped off. And this is one that has been in my collection since I was a kid. And it's one of the 1985 Star Team Super Michael Jordan cards, the 5x7. It's kind of hard to carry around because it's oversized. But here it is in all its glory. And it's absolutely beautiful. It came back in a PSA 6. I was hoping it was, looking at this thing with the naked eye, I was hoping for a 7 or 8. It looks perfect to me. But what do I know? But it's beautiful now. The slab, I absolutely love the slab. It fits the size of the card. It's easy to carry around now. It'll go in the safe and be tucked away or at the bank. But it's just absolutely beautiful. So PSA, while they took a little bit longer, in the end, they did come through. So we're kind of winding our show down. And like I said, I've pretty much said I'm not going to buy anything else. But as we all know, cards were made to be bought at a show. And I had 2 more pickups. And this one, I was actually pretty excited to pick this up. This card I actually bought from my buddy Tony. Had purchased something from from the guy that had these for sale, and we'd walk back over to his table, and we were talking to this guy again. Tony had made a pickup from him, I think, on Wednesday within an hour of us getting there. And I happened to see this, and it was not slabbed. And I looked it up, and it was, I got it for $150, I think. Absolutely love it. The 1947 exhibits card to Jackie Robinson. I think he's got several of these in that time frame, and I absolutely love this card. And this is another one. It's oversized. I love the oversized. And I'm going to keep it here for a bit, and then I'm going to ship this off with a DiMaggio to PSA and get them both slabbed. But this was my next to last pickup, and actually when I bought this, I said I'm done. I'm done. This was the third time I'd said I was done. And I'm just kind of winding down. We're made, we've been to all the booths, and we're just kind of hanging out, talking to people, killing time. And I think at this point, me and Tony, we split up again. And, I'm just walking around, and I wound up at Ash's table, and this card was on my list. This card was one that I wanted to come home with. And lo and behold, I had been looking for it, couldn't find one centered in a PSA slab in my price range. But look at this bad boy. There you go. 1956 Topps, Jackie Robinson, centered absolutely perfectly. Corners are sharp, new slab. It's got one little bitty, like a speck right there in the corner. I hope that doesn't drive me crazy. It's a little bitty speck. But the centering is absolutely perfect. And this was the last pickup of the show that I made. And man, what a way to end the show. We left with full hearts, empty wallets, full carry-ons of new cool cards. And we actually ended with one more dinner. Saturday night, we went to dinner at Morton's with TJ Online, our buddy Tony, who's big into star cards and all things in the Philadelphia area. And there were 6 of us that went, and we just we had an absolutely great time. And that was a wrap. We headed back to the hotel, and me and Tony sat up talking for a couple of hours probably, and then got up the next morning, Sunday morning, had breakfast. Mookie came down to say his goodbyes. He was staying at the same hotel we were in. And he came down and said goodbye. We hung out for a few minutes, and we got on the bird, and it's back home by 1 o'clock. And there was one more card. How could I have forgotten this one? And I put it in the little freebie National Collector. The amazing Mike Petty with a Kaboomy. And that just sits right here on my desk in the Bugsy Collection Command Center. So that's a wrap on my trip to the National and my 4th video. And I think the biggest takeaway from the show is even though I did spend a little bit of money, if I hadn't have bought anything and I had just gone and done all the stuff and hung out with the guys and gone to the dinners and gone to the Cubs game and or even just hanging out with the guys all week, the trip would have been a success, because I've just really been blown away as I've gotten back into the hobby that some 40 years later, it's still the same as it was back then, and that is the people. I have so many stories. I've told a lot of them, but so many great stories, great memories from when I was a teenager collecting cards, and people that were super nice to me and my dad, dealers, other collectors that we made friends with, guys collecting autographs at minor league games that we met, and just all those relationships and fun that we had. And here we pick up some 40 years later almost, and it's, other than Tony, it's a totally new community. It's not the same guys that I was friends with 40 some years ago, or almost 40 years ago. But it's still guys with big hearts and just good guys and gals that we have a lot of fun with. So it was an absolute great time. I'm going to make a run at doing more videos. There's no way I can do one a week. I work in the tech field, and when I'm not working, I like to be away from the technology. But I'll try to be a little bit more regular as things come up. Hope to go to a card show or two here in my area before the National rolls around next year, and maybe I'll be able to hit Strongsville in April. So anyway, Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you for listening to me. I can't wait to get back to looking at more cards in the Facebook groups later tonight and in the coming days. And until I see everybody again, want to go to a card show?